I think the stuff I kind of want to start with them is the new idea of like trying to record at different locations. Because the last time when we were driving to Rose, we thought about a lot of different.
Yeah, and I've thought about way more since then.
you gotta tell me what they are, because I
Sitting in this basement. I guess we should mention this. This is the first time we actually mentioned the setting, because the first episode was filmed in the basement, and the
Right.
basement is like, I don't know, like the spawn point of our friend group almost.
I mean, I think it is. I mean, it is a spawn point. We've like, every single thing we've ever done is mostly at this house. Like,
Yeah.
with exception like a couple of times at Dean's house.
How long ago did we like stop asking where we're going?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. I feel like,
And to clarify, I mean for the friend groups, when me and our high school friend group hang out, we used to be like, all right, whose house we're hanging out? We
Yeah.
stopped asking that. I don't even know.
I feel like after like probably like the first year, I don't really recall.
Because
I
I
don't know,
remember
that's
for a
actually-
bit in high school, like, yeah, we'd go to Dean's, we'd end up in Sagar's basement, and then that just stopped happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember
Huh.
like those were and the times we did go to their house, it was like a very like, I mean, Dean's a little bit different. We did actually like stay
Yeah.
at his house, but Saga was like a very brief like we're in and we're out, type
Yeah.
of deal.
I can think of like maybe 2 or 3 times at his place.
I remember.
I can think of 5 or 6. I've been at Dean's place way more, obviously.
Yeah.
But here is just like, yeah, that's it. It's
You,
just
you
here.
remember the time where Sagar had like a party in his basement or whatever, and there's like a bunch of high school
Dude,
people, and we popped in
dude,
out of nowhere.
dude.
I don't remember what the context of that was. I don't remember why we were there. I just remember showing up. We got lit a little
Dude,
bit.
I occasionally think about that night like a fever dream. I'm like, did that happen?
Yeah, I
Like,
know, right?
Isn't it crazy? It was me, you, and Dean. We were all hanging out here.
Yeah,
And I think
Dean
Sagar
was
had
there?
hit us up. Yes, bro.
he was at the basement. I don't remember
Absolutely.
this shit.
I'll tell you more. I'll tell you more about
I remember
that
just
behind the
me and
scenes.
Sagar. I remember Sagar picked me up at some point on his
Yes,
back.
he did.
and some
I
shit.
remember that.
That's all I remember though.
And we just pulled up to Sagar's place, like how I would pull up to frat parties in New Brunswick,
Yeah.
where like we walk in and you're like, what? It's like the basement was like, I remember the basement had like a purple tinge to it.
Yeah, it did.
Right?
Yeah, it was dim, and there was like some like other light. And I
Yeah.
remember, was it Ciroc that we had? Oh no, fuck. What was the What's the other one that's like a cheap, shitty fucking vodka? It's not Ciroc.
Tito, well, Ciroc's not cheap, but I mean, there's
Debbie,
Grey
yeah, but-
Goose, there's Tito's, there's Pop Off, there's
Fuck, I don't remember. Maybe it was
New
Ciroc.
Amsterdam,
Nah, maybe it was Ciroc.
Vedka.
If Swedka, that's what it was.
Svedka.
That's what it was.
And there you go. We'll leave it up to me to sift through the roster.
Yeah. All right, we could kind of start the episode for real now. You want to
So-
do your thing?
Oh yeah, so welcome back to the 522 podcast where the speed limit is 45, but we keep it 100. So
I like that. I still like that. So now this is like, I feel like this is the first like real episode,
Yeah.
like quote unquote. But we're definitely gonna go into more about like just everything in this area, South Brunswick. But the first thing we kind of want to talk about is how we had this idea of how we want it. So we're recording this episode in the basement, your basement, which
Yes.
is like the primary hangout space for our high school friend group since like the beginning, pretty much the beginning of time.
Yes.
At this point. But last time we filmed it here, and this time also. But I think going forward, what we're gonna do is we're gonna record at different locations in South Brunswick, and we thought about a lot last
Yes.
time we were recording, like the library, like we find one of the rooms, Pierre's, which is like a staple deli, like here we could just
Mhm.
record like in their little like dining area or whatever, and yeah, much more. But I think that's I'm pretty excited to do that.
yeah, bunch of other restaurants. I've expanded my horizons even out of South Brunswick. Like we got a lot of good ideas.
You
Don't
gotta
be surprised if this podcast ends up on a sailboat once. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
What were some of the other ones that were? I remember we were driving and we thought about
Driving is definitely one of them. We could definitely do a podcast
Yes,
whilst
yeah.
driving, but that we'll save that for another day.
Yeah. What were some that made us like really go like, holy shit, this is like great idea.
This is out of South Brunswick, but I would love to do a pod just on the streets of New Brunswick, just downtown New Brunswick, just outside.
we could
We could do that on like an afternoon, and you could also run it at like, oh man, if you do that at like 11:45 to 1 a.m. on Friday or Saturday night when Rutgers is on, you will have the most entertaining podcast
That's
of all
good.
time.
That's gonna be a lot of audio texture in the
Yeah.
background. You can hear people screaming.
Yeah,
and
we
stuff.
could just stand there and I could just like tell random stories while we just watch
I like that.
chaos happen.
I like that.
Because dude, you can't stand on Easton Ave without an ambulance or a police car like flying by with the sirens on every 10 minutes minimum. I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating.
No, no, I know. I went to a sushi restaurant in New Brunswick like a month or two ago, and I don't remember the name of it, but I remember when we exited, like it was on where's that hotel? You know which hotel I'm talking about? The big one
Oh, you're
somewhere.
talking about near George's, or you're
Yeah,
talking about, yeah, George Street in
yeah,
that area
yeah.
of New Brunswick.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We walked out and there was like two mobs like fighting each other. Like first thing we
Yeah.
walked out and they were screaming at each other and stuff, and I was like, I mean, I haven't really been in New Brunswick in a while. I forgot what it
Yeah.
was like.
And then stark contrast, we can go to Princeton.
Yeah,
That's a good campus
oh
to be
yeah.
on.
I don't think I've ever seen a fight period in Princeton.
Yeah. Another one's Brooks Crossing on the playground.
Yeah,
It's
we could do
public, so
Brooks.
we can go there.
Yeah, Brooks Crossing was the elementary school that we went to, and we could definitely we
And
have we
then,
ever
of
mentioned?
course, in the high school.
Yeah, we oh yeah
That's
we
the
have
end goal, everybody.
we have plans to record inside the high school, and I think it's possible. We're still like close with some of the teachers, that were there, and I think we could definitely just reach out to them and be like, hey, we want to record a podcast. It's about South Brunswick. I'm sure they'd be all about it. And all that kind of stuff. But I think what we could talk about is the Brunswicks, I guess. What we're gonna bring up in terms of like how South Brunswick is really the one that's been the most, I guess, consistent. Like there hasn't been as much development as New Brunswick or North Brunswick, or even East Brunswick, I guess. Out of the four, I think we're definitely like the least changing over time. And it might just be that the changes are subtle. But I thought you brought up a good point earlier about the fact that we're kind of like the end game, right, of what a township would be like.
Yes. Um, I've been told this by one of my friends that South Brunswick is endgame, and people at first laugh at that. They're like, "What? South Brunswick, random suburban town, is endgame?" But
Yeah.
realistically, where else do you want to end up in life if you're trying to, live the standard, American dream, white picket fence?
Right.
Where else do you realistically want to end up that isn't an upper middle class, if not upper class town
Yeah.
in New Jersey, where there's a great school system,
Right.
um, and there's like low crime and there's no issues.
Yeah. And I think that it's also like the perfect, suburban town in the sense that um like like you said, it's the perfect place to raise kids, whatever. And I think that over the years, North Brunswick has kind of tried to like,
Catch
go
up.
yeah, they've been. I mean, I think that when I first moved to South Brunswick, at least, I think North Brunswick was still like it wasn't seedy, you know what I mean? But it wasn't exactly like I guess like as upper middle class as South Brunswick is. And I don't think the other townships are have reached that point of like upper middle class. Like New Brunswick's kind of unique on its own. It has a college campus of Rutgers and all that kind of stuff. It's more of a city at this point.
Yeah, but it's also really ghetto and dangerous in certain parts.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's not a nice town by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, it's nicer now because there's
Yeah.
like a hospital there and everything, but like like before all that development, it was rough. I mean,
Yeah.
I still would not go
Even, and it's really nice. The places that are nice now. If you went to
Right.
New Brunswick, even before I started going to Rutgers in like 2010, maybe, half the campuses aren't nice. College Ave, like the nicest part of the current place. Oh, a great place we can film an episode. The yard of College Ave.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Super
yeah.
nice place to film an
Yeah.
episode. That used to be just a parking lot where the taco trucks would hang out. That's all it was. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, New Brunswick has definitely done a lot of, I would say, the most changes in between East Brunswick, New Brunswick, South Brunswick, and North Brunswick.
Right.
North Brunswick has done a lot of catching up, but South Brunswick is like, it's like when someone's in the lead and like they just retain in the lead.
Right. They don't have
Because
to
like,
run
they
too
don't
fast.
really need to work too hard. It's like, yeah, what do? We make our schools nicer. We build more schools.
Right.
We make our
The
community
library.
safer. We make the library look nicer, or we just build it out more.
Yeah.
And we get more jobs. We have like, if you look at the top employers of South Brunswick, there's like Canon, L'Oreal,
Oh yeah.
Coca-Cola.
I always forget those are here.
There's also a really big company. I can't think of it. I think, not S&P, but it's one of the really big financial companies. Also,
Right,
is
yeah.
out of South Brunswick.
Yeah. And
So, yeah, you don't see too much change, but there is a lot of change.
yeah, I mean, it definitely like in Dayton, like specifically, they built a lot of
Yeah.
warehouses over there, and I'm sure I don't know how many jobs that's generated over time, but it's definitely a significant amount. And I'm glad they finally worked on the library because I feel like our library is so old compared to like what South Brunswick feels like. I always imagined it would be closer, to the one in Princeton, but
Yeah.
yeah. Um
I kind of liked the old school library feel because I just like old school libraries. But no, we definitely do need a nicer library.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think, oh, you know what? I totally forgot about this. I went to my doctor's in East Brunswick, right? And I don't know
Hmm.
if you're going to agree with this. I don't go to Route 18 often. I don't know how often you really pass by there.
I'm there enough to know the lay of the land. Like I can have an
Right.
opinion on it pretty well. So yeah,
Right.
what about Route 18?
I low key feel like it's been under construction forever.
Forever.
Forever, right? Like, when
The
we
entrance when you enter from like
yes.
that from you like when you leave the Rutgers side of Route 18 and
Yeah.
you enter the East Brunswick side, that whole area. When
Yeah,
are they gonna finish that?
all the way down. I used to like when I listened to the RT podcast and Bernie was talking about the airport construction. I
Hmm.
was so against them. I was like, well, obviously, if you go there all the time, you're gonna notice construction. I think Route 18 has been under construction since I've moved to South Brunswick. They've been tearing up that road like up and down for I don't know how long, and I don't really
And it's
see
still
any
not
changes.
nice, and it's still hella
It's
traffic.
awful. It's awful, and I also don't really know what they're even doing because they tear it up, they pave over it. It's still shitty, and then they just do it over again.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, East Brunswick, that area is weird. Yeah, I don't know. I would say East Brunswick went from like I feel that East Brunswick had the least amount of change. East Brunswick is
Yeah, it's
like
kind
is
of
like
true.
plateau stagnant. It's always been like better than decent, but not good enough to like
Yeah.
warrant anything. And it's still just like that. Like there's nothing crazy about East Brunswick.
It low key feels like East Brunswick is kind of like regressing just ever so slightly because I feel like the places in and around East Brunswick, like the mall
Yeah.
and some of the shopping centers, they've kind of like died down over the
Although
years.
they're like apparently fully replacing that mall and tearing it down, and they're gonna make a full brand new like strip mall there,
Oh no
like
way!
exterior type, like not California, but like Southern Florida type
Right,
style
right.
mall,
Is it
which is
confirmed?
cool.
It's confirmed they
I've
got
seen
tear
like
down.
I've seen a lot of articles about it, and I think so because that's a dead mall.
It is so dead. I think the last time I went in there was probably like 4 years ago or something.
Yeah,
It's like
if you look at like I know there's like a theater in there. I don't know what brand it is, but if you go into the theater, it's like liminal. It's like 70s like animatronic Chuck E. Cheese era type vibe in there. It's
oh my
really
dude, we
crazy.
should film an episode in some of the abandoned malls because New Jersey actually does have, I guess, like a couple or a handful
Yeah,
of
for
abandoned
sure.
malls. I know Livingston is one, right? Or is that one?
We have enough malls in New Jersey, which sounds crazy because New Jersey's so dense, but we have
Yeah.
enough malls where we could film an episode in the mall and no one would bother us.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%,
So
100%.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think there's probably only like, would you even consider Quaker Bridge Mall like populated? I would say
yes,
Woodbridge.
I would say more than the East Brunswick Mall.
Oh well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's definitely true. I would say like Menlo, obviously, is like the most fucking
Menlo,
popular.
Bridgewater, Freehold. Those are
Yeah.
the three like.
Oh, dude, I forget Freehold Mall exists. So
Freehold
it's kind
Raceway
of
Mall
nice. I like Freehold Mall.
Freehold, that's like it has every designer place in there.
Yeah, it's
When's the
also.
last time you've been there?
Oh, dude, I went there. I used to go there because there was like League of Legends competition
Oh wow.
going on over there. But that must have been like I don't know 3 or 4 years ago. And
No, that place has always been nice. Every single
yeah,
designer place is in Freehold.
yeah.
But looping back to the Brunswicks, I wanted to say, I think regardless of which Brunswick, if one Brunswick does good, it's good for all the Brunswicks.
Yeah, they're all
Like,
connected.
Yeah, like every Brunswick benefits from another Brunswick, and I think the biggest benefit we could gain in a Brunswick is for that train station to be built.
I was gonna bring that. I was just about to bring that up. So, to give some context to the listeners, there's been talk about a train station that was supposed to be built in North Brunswick, which is like what, like a 5-10 minute drive from here.
Yes,
They've been
10-minute
talking
drive.
about that since I was I was raised here as like a young kid. There was
I've known about that train station before I moved here because we have family in North Brunswick, and New Brunswick, and I've just known about this train station. I remember like when we first like decided that hey, we might move to South Brunswick. This is back in like middle of '08.
right, right.
I was thinking, I'm like, oh man, we're gonna move to South Brunswick. Even as a kid, I was like, man, once that train station is built, like that's gonna like boost the property value. And this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
me
yeah.
thinking this is like a middle school kid.
Right.
It's 2025. There is nothing there.
I don't even know if they've started yet. Like I don't see like construction going on. They still have a. Did they? You remember that billboard?
There is a billboard.
Is that still
I
there?
was driving by the other day and I was like, is that billboard still there? It is there. And the craziest part is it's been there for so long. I forgot it's there. I looked at it. I'm like, oh, of course it's
Yeah,
right
right.
there.
Yeah, like I don't
But
even
I
remember.
can't visualize until I saw it. Crazy.
That billboard has been there since like I moved here, and it said like, "Oh, there's a new train station."
Dude,
Blah
they've
blah.
rebuilt that billboard more times than the freaking train station, bro. They've done more work to the billboard than the actual train
It's so
station.
true. And it's weird because like, well, first of all, it would be really convenient. Because I feel like for us, if we want to go to New York and take like a train, the closest thing is probably New Brunswick, and that's probably like it's still like
Yeah.
within like a 15-20 minute drive. That'd be so convenient. But the weirdest thing about that place is that they built like a Target and a Costco next to it, right? Which is like
Yes.
it's kind of bizarre that they built that, but then there's like nothing else. It's like an empty stretch of land.
No, it's actually see, once the train station is there, it's actually genius. The whole idea is there's houses there, there's that Marriott there, they're gonna build the apartment
Yeah.
complex there. Like it's all supposed to be homogenous. So then you can go to Target to get your groceries, Costco to get your wholesale, all the food is there, the gym is across the street.
Right.
It's like everything makes sense aside from the fact that they haven't built the freaking train station. Like if you built the train
It's-
station, it makes so much sense.
It's actually kind of like Metuchen because
Yes.
there's a lot of like apartments like near the train
Correct.
station, and there's like a Whole Foods and a gym and everything. I think that's what they were going for, except they just never built the train station. And at this point, I don't know if they are going to build the train station. It's been like 20 years at this point.
I don't call me. I don't know. Maybe it's like copium, hopium, but I truly believe that they will build a train station.
But the thing is, I feel like I've never even seen construction going on. Like
Yeah, I haven't seen an
oh.
ounce of construction yet. I believe it's gonna happen. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
we've talked about this before, but we don't even know where they're supposed
Yeah.
to build it. Like I drive by that area, I go to that Target, I have no clue where that train station's supposed to be.
Behind the beef gristle mill. All right, I don't know if you got that joke or not,
No,
but we'll chat about it later. But I don't know where they're gonna build it. Like it's that train station, man. I will say this. You brought up Metuchen, and this is a great point. I guess looping back to South Brunswick is that train station being built, even aside from the boosting property value, it would make life so good because think about our three, not even one, our three closest train options.
Yeah.
Either you go to New Brunswick, where yes, it's the closest, but parking is a pain.
Parking's ass.
So
There is no parking.
There is no parking. So unless you're dropping off, that's out of the question.
Yeah.
Then there's Metuchen. So now you got to drive 2 train stations away
Or Edison.
to park. Or you go backwards to
To
Princeton,
Princeton.
where it's very easy to park, but now you're going
It's far.
backwards.
It's like what, 30 minutes away? It's not even that close.
It's like if you're moving, you can get there in like 20.
right, yeah.
And
But
it's like-
typically, like Route
yeah.
1 traffic between here to Princeton though is usually like it's
Yeah.
terrible.
So if it was one near Costco, that'd be great.
yeah.
That's all we're saying. So the builders, you haven't done anything for the past 17 years, I think, or 20.
It's been 20 plus because
Yeah.
I moved here when I was like 6 years old, and I'm 27 at this point. I remember they were talking about it. It's been like well over 20 years.
Yeah.
Which is insanity. But I mean, other than that, I think South Brunswick, the only thing that's really significantly changed is the property value here. It's been like
Oh, man.
it is super expensive. I don't know how much the houses across the high school were like before, but I'm gonna assume
They were in the low, like sorry, not low. They were in like the high 8, mid 9s.
That's what I
and
was
the
thinking,
good
yeah.
ones were like 1.1.
right. Yeah,
I think those
yeah.
days are long gone.
I was thinking like they were like 8 to 900K. I'm pretty sure even like the worst one is like a mil at this point.
yeah. Oh,
Which-
dude, for sure.
Which is crazy to me.
Because you can compare to Dean's Pond. I know all the numbers in Dean's Pond.
Yeah.
When I came here in 08, and keep in mind, this is during the 08 like kind of crisis era, so
Right,
housing
right.
was a bit up. So realistically, these numbers should be even lower. But Dean's Pond was in the mid 5s, and the really nice ones were in the low 6s. Currently,
That's insane.
like the mid ones are like 9, and like the nice ones are like the nice ones have sold for 1.05 mil.
That's insane. That is
And I've seen
insanity.
listings for 1.1 in Dean's Pond. I don't know if they've sold, but I've seen listings for 1.1.
That is insanity because I think my parents bought their house for like 2 something, and now it's like 500
Yeah, that makes
something,
sense.
which is insane because the price of it that now is the same as what
Yeah.
this would have been back
Yeah,
in the day.
because respectfully, your parents' house is not worth 500K.
No,
Nor-
100%.
And this house
I
shouldn't be worth
100%
$1
agree.
million.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it makes
That
no
is
sense.
it is a small house. 500K. You could take 500K. You go to Texas. You could buy.
Oh, bro.
You could buy like this house and maybe more.
Yeah, you have this house and like 15 acres of
Yeah.
on 15 acres of land.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did we talk about how you purchased property here last time? I don't
I
remember.
don't think we talked about it. No.
Okay. So I think I mentioned this last podcast, but or last episode, but I've been in and out of South Brunswick. You know, I went to like school in New York for
Mm-hmm.
some years, and I lived over there for some years. You, for the most part, have stayed here, and we've always like. I mean, we all like South Brunswick, but I know you love South Brunswick.
Yeah.
And so when you were talking about, oh, you're trying to purchase a house, I was like, there's no way this guy's gonna end up, finding a house in South Brunswick. Everything's like stupid expensive. And then you somehow actually managed to snatch a house that
In
for
South
a
Brunswick.
relatively good price, which is crazy. And I just think the location is hilarious because it's
Yeah. So I guess looping back to how the current house we have is the de facto hangout spot. Well, the de facto secondary hangout spot is Wawa. We love going to Wawa.
great.
And it just so happened that I was looking to get a place. I wasn't looking anywhere near South Brunswick. I just wanted to be in New Jersey
Uh-huh.
because as the podcast will go on, you'll learn that I love this state as much as I love South
Yeah,
Brunswick. And it just so happened that the place I got was in South Brunswick, and it, I'll take it. I don't care. Like I kind of wanted to leave and kind of go further and just be in my own world, but I can't deny that my current situation, like the house I got, is a fantastic spot to be in
Yeah.
because it is across the street from Wawa. Basically,
Which is so funny to me. I don't. Do you think people out of state are gonna listen to this podcast and not know what Wawa is? Is Wawa like famous enough to where like someone from Cali know what a Wawa
I don't
is?
think so.
Because like I think most people know
Let me
what a
put it
Buc-ee's
this way:
is,
I
right?
don't think people in New Jersey know what Sheets is, and we're neighbors with Pennsylvania.
That's also true.
So
Like I think the only one that's globally known is probably Buc-ee's, right?
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, Wawa is just like it feels wrong to call it a convenience store because it's more than that,
Yeah.
right?
It's technically a gas station, but
Right.
it's so much more than a gas
Yeah,
station.
like they sell sandwiches and stuff. I guess it's kind of like a shittier, smaller Buc-ee's.
Yeah, exactly
If
what it
that's
is.
if that's one way to put it. They got food, they got everything. Their food's okay. I think we've romanticized how good Wawa was like back in the day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff I feel like nowadays are nowhere near as good as it was.
Yeah, I don't think Wawa is as good as it used to be. I know this is such a shock
I
for
know,
everyone
right?
listening. Is like, wait, I can't believe this may saying that about Wawa. Well, it's true. Like, it's not as good as it used to be,
Right.
but it also doesn't serve the same purpose as I needed to anymore.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, like, I fell in love with Wawa because it would supply me and my friends food
Right.
at these crazy odd hours.
Yeah.
And it would supply us food that like no one else is gonna give you in rural South Brunswick at 3 a.m.
Right. And for that price too.
And for,
It's
that
pretty
price
cheap.
back
Yeah.
in 2000 in like the late 2010s, like that's and now prices are up. I'm not in these precarious situations where I need mac and cheese at 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
Yes, I did need mac and cheese at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. We've all been there.
And exactly, we all have been there. And that's why I guess Wawa is not as good to me anymore. But I can't. Again, it's like loyalty. I'm still never gonna say a bad word about Wawa.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wawa has like a special place in our hearts. I
Yeah,
think it's kind of
exactly.
like, I mean, I can't really compare it to Buc-ee's because I feel like it's even more special than that. Buc-ee's is just good, period, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a great place. There's many food. I think Wawa is more of just like it's almost like a mascot,
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
at least. And have you tried their pizza yet?
I have tried their pizza.
Dude, it's not bad. It's actually not for like I don't. Well, I just
I thought it was whatever, dude. I don't know.
Listen, no,
I'm a
I
pizza
agree.
snob, a pizza snob guy. So I don't know. I thought it was. I don't know.
I thought for fast food pizza, it was okay.
I'd rather eat Pizza Hut.
It was better than what I thought it would be because like I thought it would be like CC's Pizza level of like trash. It was better than that. Like it was okay.
I'd rather buy something else at Wawa.
I mean,
Like,
me too.
I don't know.
I don't think I would ever go to Wawa specifically for the pizza, but at the same time, I think like if someone were like, oh, I want to try it, whatever, it's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't go there every time for pizza. I think there's definitely better places in the area, especially since we live in New Jersey. We have a lot of just
Yeah.
good mom and pop, pizza restaurants in general. So, yeah.
oh yeah. Oh, we need to circle back to. We didn't even talk about. We brought it up in the first episode,
Yeah.
but we got like your quick opinion and we completely pivoted, which was what was our initial thoughts on South Brunswick when we moved here.
Right.
To which you said you weren't old enough to kind of like remember because I think you were 6.
Yeah,
And I think there's a pretty big gap in cognizant awareness of the world between 6 and like when you're in 5th grade, which would
Yeah.
be I don't know, what 12
I have no
or
clue. Yeah,
whatever.
somewhere around there. Yeah.
So, but I remember when I moved to South Brunswick, it was like a night and day difference. It felt like Edison was very like small, compact, and kind of just like a little firecracker, always kind of just going off. Things are always
Yeah,
happening.
it's
South
dense.
Brunswick felt
Yeah.
like everything slowed down.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's open, it's wide. Everyone kind of just feels like they're more like just living in
Right.
mode. Um, and I thought that was very like freeing. I don't know. I
No,
don't know how to
liberating. Yeah, I
describe it.
get
Like
that.
it just felt like I had just like more space to myself, which I of course I had more space. We moved into a bigger house,
Right,
but
right.
like I don't know. The schools felt bigger. Like
Yeah,
everything was
yeah.
just bigger in SB.
No, I definitely think that's true. I think surprisingly, our high school is pretty dang big because I
Oh yeah.
feel like I've driven by like I guess other like high schools in other townships. I never realized how big ours was. Like I
Yes.
feel like some of the other ones are just like how big our middle school is. Like how like that
Yeah.
basically and I think that's kind of like it's very nice that we do have like a bigger high school. I think it well, one thing for sure, it allows a lot more kids in the high school, and that way you just have like a lot more experiences. Like there's just a lot of like stuff going on, and whatever. And I think for what it's worth, South Brunswick is one of those townships where they do put a lot of effort into like community built things. Like there's always like a lot of like I guess like there's not a lot of murals specifically everywhere in general, but within the high school and even
Mm.
like library, they really do try to like put stuff together. There's like what is that like night that they have every year where like there's like a bunch of stuff going on with sports. I don't remember what it's called. It's like night out, national night
I
out
don't
or
remember. Yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's like a lot of stuff like that going around here.
Yeah, I will say the high school in general, you're talking about the murals, it's not clinical at all. I've been to
Yeah.
North Brunswick High School. It's been a while and it might be completely different now, but
Right.
even back then, when we were younger, South Brunswick felt very like, or the high school, I mean, felt very like, I don't know, welcoming, like
Yeah.
nice.
Cozy.
It's
It was
like, yeah,
cozy.
it's cozy. It feels like, oh, kids come here and they actually like learn and
Right.
not in a like depressing clinical way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, North Brunswick. My first impression of North Brunswick High School is I went there for Innovation, which was their Indian dance festival,
Yeah.
and I walked in and there was just someone had just eaten chicken wings and just thrown it on the staircase and just chicken bone
No
wings on the
way.
staircase, and I'm like, wow, this is North Brunswick High School, dope.
That's crazy. That would never happen. I mean, I won't say never happen, but it would something would have been done about it. I think
Yeah,
in our high
but
school.
I do want to talk about if because we're talking about the schools here.
Yeah.
South Brunswick has a lot of schools. We have 2 preschools, 8
Yeah.
elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and a high school that got so like ran like it was so overpopulated. They built effectively a second high
They
school
did
next to it and then
that
connected it with a floating
bridge.
2-layer bridge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think I should also bring this up because there might be a lot of people who are living in SB who probably maybe don't even know this because they maybe just moved here or whatever.
Right, right.
And that's the fact that Crossroads South used to be the high school. That
Yeah.
was South Brunswick High School. And it got so overpopulated, they were like, all right, we need to build the current high school.
Yeah.
So they built the current high school and made the old high school Crossroads Middle School.
Right.
Then Crossroads Middle School got so crowded, they built another middle school in the same backyard, called
Yeah,
it
yeah.
North and South. Now there's 2 rivaling middle schools
Yeah.
that share the same backyard. And then the high school got so crowded that they built, like I said, a second high school
Yeah.
next to it and just connected it via 2 bridges and called it the annex building.
Right, right.
So that shows you like the boost of which kind of South Brunswick happened. Like it started like kind of small and just keeps expanding bigger and
Right.
bigger. 8 elementary schools is insane.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like proves what we were talking about earlier, how this is such a great place to like settle in,
Yeah.
and raise kids and stuff because I mean, there's like so it never really occurred to me, growing up because I obviously only go to one of
Yeah.
each, you don't really think about it other than like middle school. But there's like there's like so many elementary schools and 2 middle schools which are huge on their own, like
Also, both great middle schools. They're effectively like the same school that's split up
yeah, yeah.
under 2 different managements just to kind of keep it seamless. Because I can't imagine a middle school having that many people in one, so they had to
Right.
kind of break it down
Yeah.
into north and south.
Yeah, and it's cool because I don't think other townships do this, but since we had two middle schools, there was a lot of like activities where it was kind of like a competition almost,
Yeah,
between
for
North and
sure.
South, and I really did find that cool. And I don't, I don't know, you didn't really want to bring up the units earlier, but I kind of really do if we're talking about the middle
Yeah, we can
schools
talk about it.
because just briefly, just because I forget South didn't have any, right? It
Yes,
was
no, no,
just,
no,
it
no. They
was
did.
just
They did.
they did.
South also had units.
So
Their units just weren't. I don't think they were as blatantly named after Greek letters. It was like Aurora and
I totally forgot
I
about
really
this.
can't remember any of the other names. I'll be honest, because low key, no one cares about South Crossroads
Right,
South.
right. Yeah, yeah.
This comment has been made by a Crossroads
Yeah,
North
yeah. If you couldn't really
student.
tell,
Yeah.
we went to Crossroads North. You should definitely explain what a unit is because this is like you talked about this not that long ago, and it blew my mind because I never really sat down to think about it. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is just our middle school experience,
So
like
I've had this conversation with a handful of people, and some people are either completely mind blown or they have had something similar to a unit, but not to the degree at which South
Right.
Brunswick did it. So our middle school, Crossroads North, and this is again, I can't speak for Crossroads South because I think it was similar, but it just again, it may have not been as blatant, and their units were also just random words like
Right.
Aurora or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so our middle school was broken up back then into sixth grade was broken up into 3 different units.
Right.
And then 7th and 8th grade were combined. Now, this is where I lose a lot of people because it kind of didn't matter whether you were in 7th grade or 8th grade.
Right.
You were taught the same curriculum.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
basically like you go from 6th grade to like 7 and 8 part 1 and 7 and 8 part
Right,
2.
right, yeah.
Like whatever you don't learn in 7th grade, you learn in 8th grade. Vice versa.
Right.
So you effectively need to know the same content even though you're an age older / an age younger. I found that interesting.
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm getting really deep into it now.
Yeah,
But 7th and 8th grade were combined and there was 5 units.
Right.
And each unit, at least the 7th and 8th grade units, were based on Greek letters.
Right.
And I also found that very interesting. And another thing is we had sister units. So you were not only in competition with all of your other Greek brothers,
Right.
but sometimes you were told to link up with your sister brother / team or whatever
Yeah.
and fight a rival group of people. So I remember I was in Kappa,
Yeah.
and Kappa's sister unit was Sigma.
Right.
So we would have internal conflict with Sigma, but sometimes we would have to fight Rho, whose sister unit was Zeta. So now
Right.
there's a Zeta and Rho versus a Kappa and Sigma kind of like internal school beef. To which now someone would say, if they're even following along with this, what about the 5th, 7th, and 8th grade unit?
Yeah.
Well, the 5th, 7th, and 8th grade unit was teamed up with the 6th grade unit, which makes no sense.
Was that Tau?
It was Tau.
Yeah, because I
Tau
was in
paired
Tau.
up with freaking Polaris, which Polaris is a 6th grade unit,
Yeah.
and the other 2 6th grade unit was Comets and Neptunes, and it just like, if anyone is following along with this, it is this whole like Greek fiasco where
Right.
you're in teams and you like learn in sections. And let me put it to you this way: if you're in Kappa, for example, you are never gonna be in a class with someone from Rho ever.
Yeah,
You're not gonna see them.
I was gonna bring
They
that up.
effectively don't exist.
It's weird because in the units they have teacher specific units.
Yes.
Like even the teachers are divided by these units. Like
Yes.
you would not have some of the teachers just because you're in a specific unit.
Yeah, I
And
should
thought-
also mention, Jason made that point. I want to make it extremely clear. When the students are broken up in units, the teachers are also broken up in units.
Yeah.
A unit gets a math teacher.
Right.
That is the math teacher for every
It's
person in that
insane.
unit. To which you would say, well, wait a second. If there's 200 people in a unit, you're not telling me that all 200 people are the same math level. No, I'm not saying that. That math teacher needs to teach 4 to 5 different levels
Yeah,
of
yeah.
math, which is crazy.
It's insane. I mean, a unit like it's kind of like you explain all that, and I feel like I would still have to like someone would still be like,
Yeah.
so what is actually a unit? And it's just like you went. So when you enter middle school, right? They just
Yeah.
give you. I don't remember how
It's fully randomized. You
Yeah, it's fully
receive
randomized,
a
yeah.
letter in the mail before you go to middle school that says like, "Hey, we're expecting you. Like, welcome to middle
Yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah.
Your unit is this," and that unit is wholly random. And I remember before even entering middle school, I knew that there was like it was Comets, Neptunes, and Polaris,
Right.
and I just knew Comets was the best one. I don't know if everyone else got this memo, but I remember when I opened my letter and I saw Comets. I don't know shit about Harry Potter, but I felt like I just got into Gryffindor, bro. I was like, oh my god, I made it. I'm set for life. I'm in comics, baby. This is lit.
But I don't necessarily know if it's just like my own childhood like memory or whatever, but I do remember I had like my own mental distinction between the three like sixth grade units. I felt like Polaris was kind of like the nerdier
Yes,
like
correct.
group, which is weird to say because like it's all random and stuff, but I definitely felt like there was some type of like personality,
Yes.
from each
I think each
specific
unit did definitely have a
and
personality.
I think it's just insane to me, like how they basically put us in groups and made it like you said fight earlier. I want to explain like
Yeah,
what we meant by fight. We don't mean like physically
not
like
physically fight.
it wasn't like some like warriors type thing where everyone was like, oh, at 8 p.m. All the units could come together and like
Yeah.
beat each other up. But like during like any type of like field day or like sports types event.
Patterns. If anyone remembers patterns, that was crazy.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about that another day.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that another day. But any type of like sports, stuff or like gym class or whatever, we would just be
Any
split
school
up.
spirit event.
Yeah, exactly.
During
yeah.
school spirit events, that's when you kind of like rep your pride for your whatever, which
Right,
again is
pep
kind of weird
rallies,
because like Greek life
Yeah.
preparation, whatever. But yeah, you just rally behind your team or your unit, I should say, and that's how you quote unquote fight, I guess.
I really wonder. I kind of want to know the history behind, like why they decided to do this. Because I'm imagining you're a school administration, right, for this township, and someone was just like, "All right, let's split up all the middle schoolers into their own specific teams, like units and stuff, and they're gonna like be against each other in terms of like competitions or whatever." How do you like? What do you think the school board was thinking at the time? Like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
I think their logic was kids learn better in smaller groups. So instead of like you go to your science class and you're with a group of 20 people and then you go to your math class and you're guaranteed you're not going to know a single person in that
Right.
group. It's like, yeah, I guess you can learn better that way. But the second you leave middle school, it exactly what I just explained. You're just in a whole field of random people and you might not like
yeah, it like
know them, which if anything, if you're gonna keep this unit system, commit to it in high school too. Because
exactly.
what happens is you go to high school and you've been in school with this, let's say you've been in school with like a kid named Austin from 6th grade, right? But Austin was in Neptune and you're in Comets, and then you graduate and you go to 8th grade or 7th grade and you get to Zeta and Austin goes to Comet, or not Comets, goes to Kappa. These two people will never see each other, and then they get to high school but they've been in the same middle school for 3 years.
Yeah,
But they've
yeah.
never even been in the same hallway, let alone the same classroom. Because
Yeah.
it's like sectioned out.
Because
Because I should also mention this. Holy
that
crap!
the fact that
The entire middle school is broken up into units by location. So you go from Sigma territory, and then you cross into
Yeah, it's
Kappa.
insanity.
Kappa leads into Rho. Rho then divides into a break where there's 2 halls. One hall leads to Tau, which connects to Comets, which then leads to the lunchroom, and then the other hallway leads Polaris and whoever else I didn't mention because they're relevant. So it's like this whole like you like almost like go into like gang territory. It's crazy.
It is. It's insane.
crazy.
That's the part that's crazy to me. And it's weird that elementary school they never had anything like that. And then like same thing, high school there was nothing like that. And for some reason in the middle they're just like, let's just throw them into like teams.
Yeah.
And I do think you make a great point. They probably do learn better, but it's just so weird. Like you don't have to segregate it by space or by teacher. You could still keep the whole unit thing, but not have to like divide everything else. But they just straight up said no. Like we're just gonna straight up divide everything.
Yeah, I don't know. And most people who are gonna hear this are gonna be like, "Wait, 7th and 8th grade are together? That's not how it was." Or that's not how it was when I went. Yeah, because right after we graduated, they created a 7th grade unit called Theta, which makes no sense. Because
did they?
they're
I have
telling
no
me
clue about
is you
this
go
stuff.
from 3 units to 1 unit of all 7th graders. You get like mini high school in the middle for 7th grade, and then you're back
it
up to
makes-
broken up into units
It
again.
makes no
Make
fucking
it,
sense.
and now I don't even know what it is now.
It
God
makes-
knows what it is now. But
Yeah.
that's how we went through it, and we thought it was extremely odd.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
really
I mean,
odd.
it never occurred to me until we got older, and you told me, and because I don't really talk to other people about middle school, you know what I mean? But then like once you do, they're just like, what the fuck is a unit? It's like the
Yeah.
first question that
I think
that
a lot
comes
of
up.
people like kind of like forget middle school like happened. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
kind of just live their life and like middle school is like this blip in their life and they move on.
It's like kind of short though, because like
It's 3
elementary
years.
is like what, like 5,
Yeah,
6
elementary
years.
is 6
Then you go
years.
to like 3 years, and then it's like 4 years. So I guess it's
Yeah,
like the
and
shortest one.
you're like more aware of high school, obviously, and I guess people are like awkward and weird in middle school, which I
Right.
was also awkward and weird in middle school. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think
I
this
don't
is
know, I had a good time in middle school. Like,
I don't really no. I think middle school is pretty rough. I think high school, like middle, I would say probably like I don't know, when I was like 15, 16, 17 was probably when things were like kind of fun and stuff.
I don't know if I had a good time in middle school per se. Let me reframe that. I think I have a lot of good memories from middle school.
That's
Like I
fair.
look back
That's fair.
very fondly at the things I did in middle school and like a bunch of random stories I have. I mean, we'll set that for like a middle school stories episode.
Right, right. We'll save
But
that for specific. But there is one thing that I remember, and if you probably remember the context because I don't at this point. There was a night where it was like kind of like a protest. It's
mm,
about the pitchfork night,
yes.
and I don't remember what he did that warranted that level of like
Oh man.
hatred. So if you remember, you can bring it up. But basically, in middle school, I think it was like what, eighth grade. I'm guessing. I don't even remember, seventh or eighth grade.
No, dude, no, we were in high school.
We were in high school already.
Yeah, we
Okay,
were in high
okay.
school. It was like 10th grade. And basically we had a new school superintendent.
Right.
The last one, his name was Gary.
Yeah.
Which if you're from South Brunswick and of my age, you would know that like Gary was like the goat. I remember Gare Bear was like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
huge
there were-
thing. People
There
would,
were
like,
memes on
Photoshop his
Facebook.
face
Yeah.
onto like a teddy bear. And the reason people loved Gary, because why would kids love the superintendent? That makes no sense. It's
Right.
because when you got a snow day, Gary would be the one who would call your house. I
Yeah.
don't know if they still do that anymore, but he used to call your house at like 6 a.m. and your mom would answer and like this like doze in sleep, and he'd be like, "Hello, my name is Gary. Whatever. There will not be school today. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
whatever."
yeah.
And because he'd say that, kids loved him. Long story
Yeah.
short, he's old. He retires.
Right.
He gets replaced with a guy named Jerry. Jerry.
Right. I don't know. We should
Um,
say that name either.
Why not?
I don't know. I
He's
don't
an
know.
official public.
I
He's a government employee.
we could. I mean, I
I
guess.
mean, you can bleep that out. That's not my point. But
Yeah.
he got replaced with Jerry Jellig. Again, bleep that out. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think he basically mismanaged funds. I think he cut teacher salary, or not cut. I don't want to go
That's
all the
what
way out.
he- no,
but I
he
think
did,
he
he
like
did.
cut money that would directly benefit teachers/students, however that was.
Right.
And I think, either increased his salary
He
or
did.
he
I think that's
benefited
what it
from
was.
it somehow. And the whole township was like, no.
They were furious
Yeah.
about it. It was I've never seen the township come together like that on something something so specific. So I think you were right. I think he did like cut funds from teachers and raise his own pay
Yeah.
or something like that.
And what this pitchfork night is, to be clear, is in the middle school auditorium. There was supposed to be this like meeting held where they were supposed to just like talk about what just happened with like the whole all the funds.
And I don't think it was specific to like them talking funds. It was just like one of those like kind of like township
Yeah.
like meetings.
And
type
he was
things.
supposed to be there and effectively like answer to whatever it was.
Right.
And there was so many people there. I remember like it really was a mob. It was crazy.
It was great. Like it was so crowded that I mean the parking lot for the middle school isn't that big to begin with, but it was packed to the brim.
Yeah.
There were cars parked on the shoulder and everything, and there was just lines of people outside the middle school. And I remember we got in. I remember we were
Yes,
in the
I
auditorium.
remember.
That is insane because I remember there was a lot of people. I don't know how we got into the auditorium to actually like be there physically.
We had to like
but
intro. I remember we got there, and my first thought was, "There's no way we make it in." And then like at one point, I was like, "Holy shit, we made it in!"
yeah. And then the shocking part is he wasn't there.
Yeah, no,
he didn't show up.
I guess it was shocking.
No, it wasn't that shocking.
But it wasn't that shocking because there was so much just like animosity. I remember at one point being like, if this guy shows up, like it might actually be problems. And no, he didn't show up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
long story short, I think he either
got-
resigned or got let go. I have no clue.
I think he's quote unquote resigned, which
Yeah.
pretty much means he probably
and then we never heard from him again.
Yeah.
God knows what he's up to now.
yeah. And I think I don't even know who replaced him in the end.
Yeah, that's how little it mattered. I don't
yeah,
think anyone really cared.
I don't even. All I remember is that happening. Everyone was furious. And that was pretty much the end of it. And we actually spoke to him face to face.
Yes.
Only one time.
We randomly ran into him at Pierre's Deli back when that was our hangout spot.
Yeah.
And we were just like, I don't know, starstruck. We were like, holy crap, this is the guy that like, I think this is before.
This was before the whole controversy.
Yeah.
I think this was definitely
Yeah, this is before. We were like, wow, it's like the superintendent. And he sat down with us. He gave Sagar a pin. I remember.
Yeah, it was
I took a
American
photo.
flag pin or
I
something.
don't know
like that.
where that photo is. It's probably on some hard drive somewhere. And I remember I took the photo. Like I tried to sneak and take a photo, and I didn't look at the photo until later because I was trying to be super incognito.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I looked at the photo later, and when I looked at it, he's staring straight into the
Oh
camera.
yeah.
He's like, yeah, this guy's taking a photo of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, we did interact with him briefly, and he seemed like an okay guy in that interaction. To be honest,
I mean, yeah,
he was like,
I
"Hey,
mean,
how you kids doing? You know, what's going on with your lives?" Well, he was like, I genuinely had like a whatever. But
yeah. When you line your pockets with extra few hundred thousand, I'm sure life is really good to be nice to middle schoolers.
yeah, but somehow he's still going to Pierre's Deli for a sub or
Yeah,
whatever he was getting.
we try
Um,
to hassle them for some money too. Who knows?
but yeah, I think yeah, that middle school's great, and I think we probably have a middle like a lot of middle school stories to tell. I think that
Yeah.
should probably be its own
We'll just
episode.
have an episode called Middle School Stories, and we'll
Yeah.
just like trade random. We could have a few probably.
You definitely have
Yeah.
more than I do, just because I don't remember. I think high
Yeah.
school. I remember high school a lot. Like there was a lot of stories I do remember from high school. Middle school was kind of just like I don't know, like there's like in and out, type of things. I don't really remember too much from it.
I'm not gonna lie. I could probably write down like 50 to 60 middle school
You should just
stories. I don't know how accurate that number is, but even sitting here now, I'm like, I could talk about this. I could talk about this. I remember I found like $50 just outside. Remember how the Spanish classes were all outside, like the language classes?
Yeah.
I had to go inside to like talk to one of my teachers, and I was walking back, and I just found $50 on the floor.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, hey, we're lit. $50 up.
dude, $50 when you're a kid is like,
Dude, $50 in middle school, dude, that is
you're like
a
you're
crap
set,
load of money.
You're set.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of money in middle school.
Yeah, and I totally forgot about this. How like is this like a common thing for schools to have like mobile home things or whatever for
I
classrooms?
have no
because
clue.
you brought that up and I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. But all of our language classes like Latin, French,
outside.
or Spanish they weren't outside, but you had to leave the middle school and walk to like
Yeah, you
these-
leave the back of the middle school. There's a couple doors that God knows what the rules are now. I probably
yeah,
shouldn't
it's
say
probably a
this,
little
but,
bit more complicated now.
The doors are just open from the
Yeah.
back. I guess they're open from the inside going out. No, that's no.
No,
you
no,
can,
no,
you
no.
can get in too.
Yeah, they were
I
just
don't know.
open. They were just
I guess the doors are just unlocked in the back of middle school.
yeah,
Ugh.
probably not the same way now.
Yeah, probably not the same way
highly
now.
doubt it's
But like, you just leave the back of middle school. There's one, two,
it's like four,
three,
right?
four, just like outhouses.
Yeah, I don't even. They're like mobile homes basically.
Yeah,
but like
just see two
it's weird.
of them are mobile homes where they're just like out there,
right.
and then two of them are actual buildings. I remember the Spanish and the French buildings were just buildings that were outside, but like the Latin building and there's another
The Latin was
building.
just a straight up.
It was just like they're on wheels.
yeah,
That shit was crazy.
Because I took Latin, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. The Spanish one was at least like a building. It
Also,
wasn't on
I don't know
wheels.
how. Wait, so you went to a building, right? Not one of those like small mobile home
No,
things.
I was in a building.
Dude, those things, I don't know where the fuck they got them from. They smelled like shit inside. It was like
Oh,
rotting wood.
wow.
It smelled like rotting wood inside.
That's crazy.
They were like old. Like
Wait, how'd you go to bathroom in there?
I don't think there was a bathroom in there. I
Oh,
think you
dude, we
gotta-
had a bathroom.
Oh, you guys had a bathroom?
Yeah,
I think
we
we
had
just
a
had to walk
bathroom.
back. I think we just straight out. I
Oh
kind of
no,
recall
dude, we
that.
had bathroom, and the bathroom was like, it wasn't. It was a nice bathroom.
No, I think we straight out of the walk. There was no bathroom in the. In
No,
the
there was
mobile thing.
100% bathroom in those buildings. Absolutely. So yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, we had to straight up just walk back, and I feel like I
Wow.
remember that because there was definitely kids who didn't give a shit about the class, wanted to just skip it and stuff, and just say they want to go to
Yeah.
the bathroom. They could take like a little bit of a walk, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I wonder if I'm sure it is now, but in our high school, you couldn't walk the hallways. This is also something that blew a lot of people's minds when I told them.
Yeah.
You can't walk in the high school unless you have a pass.
I feel like that's a thing. No, in other
I don't
high
know.
schools too.
I don't know. I
It's like-
mean, there's
I'm-
like, dude, like schools in California are just outside.
That's true. That's true.
So-
I think it's we are a little bit stricter with it. I feel like there are other high schools that definitely do that, but we just had like. Well, first of all, I think it's common now to have police officers in most high schools.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was back then because we did have one like pretty early on. But there was also just a bunch of hall monitors that would like
Yeah.
stop you, and be like, "Yo, you got to pass or whatever," or ask you where you're going.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's
I-
some legendary South Brunswick hall monitors.
Which we-
Granny on the
Yeah,
bridge
God.
is crazy. I don't know if she's still alive.
she was old when she was. Here's the thing, honestly, it's one of those like SpongeBob Squidward things where, as a kid, I was like, she's a mean jerk,
Yeah.
whatever. But now that I'm older, I feel this probably the same way as she does. I would be angry at like kids all the time, be like, "What the fuck you guys doing? Stop running around!"
Yeah,
and,
all,
like,
all
pushing each
her
other."
only job is to make sure that the kids in the hallways are wearing their IDs.
Yeah.
So if she doesn't do that, what is she getting paid for?
I
Nothing.
she's there to you say IDs, I think she was just there to yell at people in general, even when people are yelling or wearing
That's
their
true. She
IDs.
had beef with everybody.
Yeah,
You
she
had a
was just
backpack
screaming
on, you
like
had a hoodie on, you had a hat on,
yeah, she
you
was
were
like, "No
using
hood, take your
anything.
hoodie off," or,
Oh yeah.
whatever. Why oh, and we weren't allowed to carry backpacks.
Oh, and if you're a girl,
It's just
she
weird.
would like if you walk by, right, and you're wearing a skirt that's or like shorts that
Oh,
are too
yeah, yeah,
short,
yeah.
she would be like,
Put on some
"Stop!
clothes.
You need to go to the office and you need to put on." And she would make girls put on clothes.
Well, it was weird because like, they forced the students to go to the office, which is like, I don't know, like, it's so weird to me that someone would be sent to the office, and also they weren't even wearing like that skimpy of clothes. You know what I mean? Like it was high
Yeah.
school. Nobody was like wearing anything crazy, but she was definitely just like definitely extra about it. But honest, I hope she's doing well. I hope she's still
Yeah.
alive because, I feel like I would totally get it. And you brought up IDs. I totally forgot. Is that like a thing in other high schools too? I feel like that's not.
Gotten I have not talked to a single person who's been required to have their ID wrapped around their neck
It
24/7
was like we
during
were
high
going into
school.
a government building.
Yeah,
Like the moment you enter
you
the.
enter South Brunswick High School, I would walk into the building with my ID on. I didn't even
Me
let
too.
it
Yeah, I
get to
think
a
so
point
too.
where
I think
like
I
I
do
need
the
to whip
same
it out
thing. Yeah.
because after that first bell rings, if that ID isn't around your neck 24/7, you are cooked.
Yeah, someone will yell at you or write you a fucking
Yeah, there's
whatever.
no way you're gonna be able to freely walk around that building. If you lost your ID at 12 p.m. and you think you're gonna be able to get to bell ring at I don't know 2:25, whatever the hell it was,
Yeah.
and not get like someone call you out, you're crazy.
No, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
impossible.
And people would write you up for it. I don't even know. I don't think I've ever
Yeah,
gotten written up. So
I've
I don't
never
know.
gotten written up.
I
For
don't
it.
know what really happens after you get written up, but
I also just like I was also really good with keeping my ID. Like I know
yeah,
some
I
people
don't.
just like always lost it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or they just didn't give a shit enough to keep it on.
Yeah, you got to pay for a new one too. It
Yeah,
was like $5 every time
dude.
you want a new ID.
Thinking back, it's kind of messed up, man. We had to like. I mean,
I think your first one was free actually.
no, first one was definitely free.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it now because it's a safety thing, especially now more than ever.
Yeah.
But back then, I was just like, damn, this is like some fucking like crazy government shit. We walk in with lanyards and IDs and everything, and you use that ID for like food too.
Yeah, that ID connects to like how much money you owe the school,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the school won't give you they won't give you your diploma until you pay off your balance. So let's say you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
walk, it's like oh great, like they won't give you your diploma. Like
Yeah,
you
and-
need to go and pay off your balance before they give
And the
you
way
that.
you would owe money is basically just through lunch, I think. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
so-
that's the primary.
Yeah, so no matter if you had money or not, the school has to give you lunch if you don't have food. So the school would give you the bare minimum lunch,
Right.
which was basically whatever the main hot food was that day.
Yeah.
One drink, and you were mandatory. A drink was either some shitty juice.
I don't
or,
think you got a drink, did
no,
you?
no, you definitely got you got a small little
like a
cup
milk
drink.
or some shit.
It was either a cup drink, the shit you get in the hospital when you're like
Yeah, yeah,
under,
yeah.
or
Yeah, I
it
do
was
remember
like
that
a
now, yeah.
low fat True Moo milk,
Yeah.
which was like a blue can. If those who remember if they still make blue can True Moo milks, and a fruit
Yeah.
because Michelle Obama. So you got that. It would go on your tab of how much money, and you would have to pay that. And if you try to get
Yeah.
other crap like chips or cookies,
Oh, those
or
were
if you
extra.
tried to get like, if you tried to get Boar's Head, sometimes they would just be like, no,
Oh, really? I don't remember.
because Boar's Head was like special level. Oh, by the way, our school had special catering via Boar's Head. There was a special Boar's Head counter where they had Boar's Head sandwiches for like $1.50 more than like regular.
I don't
lunch.
remember that. I do remember the Boar's Head sign. I always just figured that was just like a sign that they had. I don't
No,
remember.
Jason. So we had two different delis in the high school. One side was our standard deli, which was the regular price of meat. Then the special Boar's Head deli had a Boar's Head certified dude who they would make sure knew what he was doing, and they would get Boar's Head meat, and that costed $1.50 more.
Dude,
it was $3.80 per, I think, meal.
My memory sucks, bro. I don't even remember what that lunchroom looked like.
Yeah,
Or,
yo,
like-
you need.
No,
yeah,
I
don't
remember
know.
the cafeteria. I don't remember like going into like the thing. I vaguely remember.
I could draw it out.
I mean, sure, yeah. I think we should probably just visit at some point. I don't know
I
if
think
they'll
we
let
can
us into the
visit.
lunchroom, but I feel like that. Yo, how cool would this be if I'm going off tangent now? How cool would it be if we managed to go on a day where there was no school or anything, and they just let us walk around the whole school while we were.
Oh my god,
Like, we held
that
that
would
would
be heaven.
be insane. That'd be perfect.
I feel as if we go to South Brunswick and just like tell them that we're just genuine and we just love SB and we just want to walk around a high school for like old memories sake and record something for ourselves, I would hope that the current state of the world would still allow that to happen.
I low key feel like they wouldn't, but I feel like if they would probably say something like, "Oh, you would need someone to accompany you, you know, at all times," or
Yeah.
something like that.
Which is crazy. 'Cause I think if you were to propose this in like 1982,
Dude, they
no
wouldn't
one
give
would
a
care. There was
yeah, they
not
would
like
not
they
give a
wouldn't care whatsoever. Like, what you want to come into the school and what go ahead.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
what?
They would not care whatsoever. But
Yeah,
yeah,
times changed.
nowadays it's definitely a little bit different. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I was just gonna, end this off with was I was wondering, we were talking about change in South Brunswick and, how it's either subtle or, there's just not as much because we're already like, well kept township. But I was wondering, like, do you think our township is more resilient to change, or do you think it's like unable to, or if it's like subtle, or if it's like too quiet, like I do appreciate the fact that it's just nice here. It's peaceful, there's nothing too crazy going on, but I do go to places like Princeton and, I get that they're above like a tax, maybe one or two tax brackets above us, but I do think there's still it feels like there's more. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely more going on. And I don't think South Brunswick's necessarily small, in terms of like the size of the township, but I don't feel like there's as much, new developments other than like, obviously like warehouses and, like industrial things like that. But in terms of like community driven stuff, I don't really think there's really as much, going on in the township.
I think South Bend just doubles down on what it's good at doing, and that's why you don't see it. I think it's really like, yeah, I think we talked about earlier. Like there are developments, you just don't really see them.
Right.
And I think what you're saying about Princeton, like New Brunswick, I think that's just forced geographically. Princeton is just it's in an Ivy League town, so
That's
no
true.
matter what, it's gonna be nice.
I forget that
Because
those are
pop over to Skillman, which is like I guess the town not next to Princeton, but it's close enough to Princeton. It's near Plainsboro, which is close
right.
enough. Skillman, you could say the same thing about South Brunswick. It's a town that does what it does, and it's been doing what it's doing for the longest time.
Right.
It's just a town.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't know. I think South Brunswick does its job well.
it does. It does. And I think I also forget that New Brunswick and Princeton also are attached to colleges. So obviously there's going to be a lot more
Yeah.
development and stuff. You know what the I'm just going to like end with this maybe or whatever, but there's not enough trails I feel like in South Brunswick to like hike on. Is there? I don't even know. Oh,
I feel like there are, but we
there's
just
the
don't really
one
go on them.
near Dean's house, right? The
There's one near Dean's house. There's a few like
near the karate
I
center.
noticed the trails are around power lines.
Yeah, they are.
Like they kind of like, oh, there's a power line, like just like row of power lines. We're just gonna bust the trail next to it because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we had to clear the land out anyway. There's a
Yeah.
few I can think of. I can show you on a map later, but
Yeah.
there are a few places that like you could go on trails or we could
Yeah.
go on a walk. There's parks. There's a lot of parks in South Brunswick.
There are a lot of parks, that is true, and they're very big. You know what I noticed is that I feel like there's not a lot of like too empty space. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of empty space
Yes.
inside, despite like it being very like quiet or whatever. There's not a lot of empty space. It's either housing or probably the only empty space I can think of is a farm, but it's just a farm. And everything else is either housing, schools, like restaurants, even though there
Yeah.
aren't that many
South
restaurants.
Brunswick min max is it really well. Like that's all
Yeah.
it cares. But I think that's like when people. That's why people joke or laugh at the fact when I say South Brunswick's end game is because you think end game, you think of this master like beautiful Renaissance end game, but it's like no. The end game is kind of sometimes simple.
Yeah.
It's
Safe township.
safe township,
Good schools.
good schools, everyone's happy.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about you forgetting to lock the door at night.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Good old
is,
American
is that
town.
not what you want?
Yeah.
Is that not what, or not you, but that's not what people just
I
want.
mean, at
unless-
this age, yeah, that is what
Yeah.
I want. I just want to settle down somewhere that's, safe, comfy, all that stuff. And that's what
Yeah.
South Brunswick is. But yeah, I think that does it for this episode. I think next episode we'll probably do the recording somewhere else. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily know
in a
where.
new location.
Yeah, we could do the Brooks Crossing playground, which is attached like to your house, kind of.
Yeah,
Or we could do library, but we'll think about it.
yeah.
but-
Might be also depending on weather. We'll see.
That is true. But yeah, hope you guys keep listening. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast so
Yes.
far. We're very excited to make more of these. But yeah, see y'all later.
Peace.